Holly Webb. I am currently completing my clinical teaching assignment at Austin High School in Fort Bend ISD. I am in a 10th grade world history class, and in this lesson we are covering feudalism in Japan. At the beginning of class, there are 20 students present. One student came in tardy at the beginning of the simulation, and about halfway through, I got a new student in the class. So by the end of the lesson, there are 22 students in the class. The video starts during the students' warm-up, which was to use their knowledge from our previous lesson to rank the positions in feudal Japanese social hierarchy from highest to lowest status. Make sure that while you're ranking your roles and positions, your different groups, that you also include a short description about them. It doesn't need to be a full-out paragraph, just a short description to remind yourself about what we learned on Tuesday. Got 3 more minutes, you guys. One more minute, you guys. Do your best to remember. Okay, 10 seconds to wrap up your last thought or sentence. All right. Do I have a volunteer?
Oh.
Do I have a volunteer to tell me who is the highest ranked in the Feudalistic Japan Society? Daniel, you're so ready.
The Emperor.
The Emperor, correct. Okay, tell me some characteristics about the Emperor.
He had the highest rank in society, but no political power.
Okay, who had the political power? Armand.
Shogun.
The Shogun, correct. So, although the Emperor was ranked higher than the Shogun had the political power. Who was number 3? Say it.
The Daimyo. I don't know how to pronounce this.
Daimyo.
Yeah.
Daimyo, yes, that is true. Do you know some characteristics of the
They're
Daimyo?
like the rich people. They own like massive amounts of land.
That is true. They owned huge pieces of land. Do y'all know where they got the land from? Or who they got the land from?
Shogun.
The Shogun. Okay. Number 4. Who was 4 in society? Sam?
Samurai.
The samurai. And who were the samurai?
They were loyal warriors.
Loyal warriors. They protected the land. They were the warriors. Okay, number 5. And the way I did this, number 5 is actually 2 groups. What 2 groups is number 5? Jessica?
Is it peasants and artisans?
Yep. Peasants and the artisans. Okay, so they were equal in society. Who was below them? Merchants. Good job, you guys. The merchants. Now, although the merchants were lowest in society, what was special about them? Say it.
They gained influence through trade.
They did. They gained influence and wealth through trade, and eventually they could work their way up out of the lowest position. That is not exactly true for the other ones. With a lot of hard work, they could, but they pretty much stayed in their respective hierarchy places. Okay? So, today we are going to be using that information, what we know about the hierarchy of feudal Japan, and we're going to complete a simulation so that we are able to better understand and able to describe the political and social characteristics of feudal Japan. Are y'all ready for the simulation?
Yeah.
Yes.
Alright, let's go. Stay where you're supposed to be.
Alright.
Can I put my spiral?
You can put your star up. Well, just leave it on the desk.
All right.
If you're not where your card tells you to be, please get there now.
Come on.
Come on, guys. See you.
Okay.
Is this the
Y'all will see it is the person sitting on the desk. Oh yeah.
Ow. Oh, are you? Okay, come here. You are on a state seat. And you're up here. Nice. Here, alrighty. Take a look around. Welcome to feudalistic Japan. We are so glad to have you. Who do you notice at the very front of the room?
Our emperor and
Hey. We don't know that yet.
Oh.
We don't know who they are yet. Right now, they're just 2 people standing at the front of the room. Minna, can you do me a favor and really, really loud read your description?
I am the head of Japanese feudal society. I am well respected since I hold the highest rank in society. However, I don't actually hold any political power.
Okay, so she said that she is the highest rank, but she doesn't hold any political power. Who is she, Sam?
The emperor.
The Emperor. Hey, she's not alone up there, is she?
No.
Tay, let's hear yours.
I am the supreme military commander, and I hold all of the real power in society.
Who's Tay? The Shogun. Hey, let's take a look at something. They are both at the front of the room. We know that Minna is the Emperor and Tay is the Shogun. Who is higher or taller? Tay. Okay. What do you think that might symbolize?
She has more political power.
Her power.
Her power. So, throughout this simulation, we are going to base power off of height. Okay? So keep that in mind. So we know that Tay has more power than Minna. Okay? If you have a green piece of paper, please hold it up. Do I have a volunteer to read?
Right.
Alright, Daniel, let's hear it.
All
Nice and
right.
loud, nice and loud.
Right. I am a great warrior lord, and this is my estate. You may not be able to tell from where you are, but I own a huge piece of land. Because I have shown excellence in fighting, I was able to choose my great estate with the shogun's permission, of course. With help, I will protect the many peasants who also live on my land.
Okay, very good, Daniel. It's very loud, very assertive. I liked it. Okay, so did y'all catch where did he get his estate from? The Shogun. Okay? And how did he get this estate? What gave him? He was a great warrior. So through his great fighting, he has climbed the ranks and become a daimyo. He has gotten this huge piece of land. Oh, I just told you he became a daimyo. Okay. Well, y'all knew that already, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so notice something for me. We have two emperors at the very front. Or sorry, an emperor and a shogun at the very front. Hi, are you new? Awesome. Okay. You can go have a seat over there, and they're going to fill you in on what we're doing. Okay? And Nara, can you fill him in? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, so, where was I? We have an emperor and a shogun at the front of the room. They are in control of all of feudal Japan. We have 4 different daimyos on 4 different estates. They are in control of their own estate. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Daniel, you are only in control of estate A. You do not have anything to do with estate D, unless y'all fought each other. Ooh, we don't want that doing. No fighting in here, okay? This is a simulation, remember. Okay, so if you have a yellow piece of paper, please raise it up. Do I have a volunteer to stand up and read it nice and loud?
I will.
Okay, thanks, Josh.
Is that deep voice?
I, along with my equals, make up 75% of the population. We are the backbone of feudal society in Japan. We farm the land and produce the food for the state. Therefore, we are pretty much bound to the land.
Hey, let's rewind a little bit. So he said him and his equals make up 75% of the population. Throughout history, we always see that which class usually makes up the majority? The lower class. The lowest class always makes up the majority. Since we've been studying all the different civilizations, that has been true. This is true for this class, which is the peasants. The peasants. How do we know that they're peasants and not merchants or artisans? Because they farm the land. You can have a seat. Okay, so what else did he say? What are you holding?
A rope.
A rope. Why are you holding that rope?
Because I'm bound to the land.
Because you're bound to the land. Why are you bound to the land?
That's where they farm.
Because that's where you farm. So the farming gives you food that you need to eat to survive. So that is why it is very important for you to stay bound to that land. Now, can you actually move around if you want? Do you have to stay on that piece of rope right there? No. But that is to symbolize that you are bound to the land because you need the farmland, you need the food. Okay. Okay, so, daimyo. Sorry, peasants. Do you have something to give your daimyo?
Yes.
Go ahead and do that, please.
Alright, thank you.
And daimyo, do you have something to give to your peasants? Peasants, what did you just give your daimyo?
Loyalty ticket.
Loyalty token. A loyalty token. What is this loyalty token symbolizing?
That the Lord was and they will fall on it.
They are loyal to the daimyo. Why would you be loyal to the daimyo? They have more power and they are giving you the land to farm. Daimyo, what did you give your peasants?
We give honor tokens.
Honor token. What does that symbolize?
That we will fight for them.
You will fight
Oh,
for them.
protect,
You will protect them. You will protect them. Now, are you going to be able to protect all of these peasants on your land single-handedly?
I will try.
No, we need like.
You're gonna try, but I don't think you'll be able to fight off all the armies. So you need help, right? If you have a pink piece of paper, please hold it up. Will somebody please volunteer to read that? Gina, go ahead.
I'm a member of the fighting aristocracy. Our job is to protect our estate. We have a partnership with the daimyo of our estate. The daimyo need us on their estate so they can uphold their promise to protect the peasants.
Okay, so like we just said, the daimyo can't protect the peasants on their own. They need the samurai. They need the samurai to help them keep their promise to the peasants. They have a special bond, the daimyo and the samurai. Now, is Gina's loyalty and bond with only Dakota, or is she also loyal to Hannah? What do y'all think? Only with Dakota, right. Because what if Dakota and Hannah got in a fight?
She would have.
She'd have to choose. Right, so she needs to stay loyal to Dakota, to her estate, because Dakota needs her. He needs their fighters, right? Okay, so we touched on all of the positions. Everyone's read a card if they have it. Do I have somebody that would like to volunteer, courageously volunteer, to pretty much run us through what we just did and show us the cycle, how everybody's related? Syed?
Okay, so there's the emperor who has like the most power, but I mean not the most power, but it's like the highest. But you know they have no political power.
Right.
Shogun is that is the person that has all the political power. It's not the highest up. I don't know how to say it again. The daimyo have like the big masses of land and stuff, and that's where the peasants live on and farm.
Wait, let's pause for a second. How are the daimyo and the shogun related?
The shogun gives us the land.
The shogun gives the daimyo the land. Okay, so how are the daimyo and the peasants related?
And because the peasants live on our land, they farm on our land, and we protect them, and they farm on our land.
And how do you protect them?
We have samurais to like defend them and stuff.
Very
Warlords
good,
are-
Syed.
Okay.
Very good. Okay. Are there any questions about the simulation? Yes. We'll talk about that in a second. We will get to that. Good question. Any other questions about the simulation? Okay, everybody return to a desk. It does not have to be your estate. Just get to a desk. Preferably where your notebooks are. You will need them. Okay. As soon as this... Now what I would like y'all to do is get with a partner that's in close proximity to you, and discuss what we just did. So discuss our class simulation, compare it to historical reality. What is historical reality?
What actually happened?
Exactly. Y'all are so smart. What actually happened in history. So what actually happened in feudal Japan. Compare our class simulation to what actually happened in feudal Japan. There are similarities and there are differences. You need to discuss both of them and be prepared to share with the class. Are there any questions? None at all? Okay, go ahead and get talking.
Wait. Oh,
wait.
My bad. What about the merchants?
We'll talk about that.
Oh, my
You can say that that's the difference, couldn't you?
Yeah, I guess.
There you go. Okay, go ahead.
So there's a lot to get this class. You'll see the emperor is sitting down, but yet he's the highest rank. But when he's sitting down, that like references how much power he has, meaning he has a little bit of power. And then still has enough power to be like, hey, I want you to do this. But then the shogun, on the other hand, standing tall, because he has the most power. He's not the highest rank. No, don't get that mixed up. He's not the highest rank. But then the daimyo gets the land from the shogun.
She came in here.
They also
And the difference would be that they have
that how we saw them, like versus like who had the most power. That was shown.
Oh, these are how many dynamos were on the camera.
Did it, and it also mentioned like there were basically no samurai there, and no merchants either.
I thought
And they weren't all.
Samurai was there.
the samurai was most of them.
Who was samurai?
Samurai was the people like they're like
That was the dynamo.
So I mean, like these people are exactly. So that's the difference. And not at all. Well, he does definitely have He gives social power.
He has no political powers.
He doesn't have any political powers. Okay, I wrote this.
How do you think
How would I like?
I said that the Emperor's pointless, but he's saying that he has social power or something.
He does, because people go to him and people are like, hey, you should give us advice.
So you're saying he's like a counselor at school, very
Yeah.
pointless, but
That's one way to
He's a
look at
very
it.
important
I'm just
counselor because
saying.
the people of Japan
He is a
followed
symbol.
whatever he
He's a
said.
okay.
He's symbolic. That's his role.
Alright, I didn't see that.
People look up to him. He's kind of like a...
But I feel like the Shogun should be higher than him for some reason. Like the Shogun doesn't get enough credit. He should be higher than the Emperor.
You should write a letter to
I know, right? I'll write a letter to feudal
So
Japan.
it's like you would Coach Burlingame because you're more of like the
Shogun has all.
Yeah.
Okay, wrap up your final thoughts, please. 10 seconds to wrap up your final thoughts.
Wrap it up.
Alrighty, do I have a volunteer to give me a similarity? Say it.
like we showed all like where everything socially stands accurately.
Our hierarchy in our class matched the hierarchy of feudal Japan. Good job. Anybody else, a similarity? Anybody? Josh.
We used the rope to demonstrate how we were bound to the land, but like we're technically not actually bound.
This is true, but it is relatable, right?
Yeah, it's
because
relatable,
the peasants were bound to the land because they needed it. Okay? Do I have some differences? Sam.
The artisans were never really put up.
The artisans and merchants were not included in this simulation. That is not because they didn't exist. They did exist. The only reason was for number purposes. We didn't have enough people to have all of the roles filled. But just know that the peasants and the artisans are equal and the merchants are below them. Okay? Technically, yes, they would. Okay? Another difference? Say it.
I guess that apart from the Emperor, we didn't say like this is how many shoguns or this is how many daimyo were.
This is very true. We only had one samurai on each estate.
But it was like
Do you think that's realistic?
No.
No. We would have, if we were really in feudal Japan, we would have multiple samurai on each estate. But again, for numbers, for the simulation, we had one per estate. I have a couple questions for y'all. How were you assigned your roles?
We got them as we walked in.
You got them as you walked in. Did I calculate your GPA and figure out, oh, Daniel has this, he needs this?
Yeah. No.
No, I didn't. I just handed them to you randomly, right?
Yeah.
What does that remind you of?
when they're born into it.
They are born into it. Good job, you guys. Very good connection. They were just born into it. They didn't get to pick their role. Their parents didn't pick their role for them. They were born into it. Were you able to switch or trade roles? Were you allowed to switch or trade roles?
Not
No.
with your permission.
You were not allowed to. You had whatever role you were given, that's what role you performed. Is that how it was in feudal Japan?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, do y'all remember we talked about a word? Social something.
Hierarchy.
Okay, hierarchy is the order.
Okay.
Like the caste system. Starts with an M. It's kind of like moving. Social.
I don't know.
Mobility.
Social mobility. Was there social mobility in feudal Japan?
No.
Yes
No.
or no?
They could not move up and down. There was not social mobility.
But I thought
And that-
the merchants could move up.
Good. With the exception of merchants. Now, sometimes a peasant or a samurai or somebody could work really, really hard and be really, really good at what they are. And they could move up. For example, if the estate was under attack and they didn't have enough samurai or they lost samurai or whatever may have happened, they would sometimes call on the peasants to fight. And if one of the peasants was really good or worked really, really hard or did something really courageous and honorable, they could become a samurai. Okay? So there was a small amount of social mobility, but for the most part, didn't happen. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Couldn't the samurai move up to be like a dynamo? Because like they said like wait, that's the wrong.
It's okay. It was close enough.
I keep saying it wrong. Anyways, like, because he said like they had a great they became a dynamo because like they had a huge land and they were like great warriors. So didn't it move from samurai to there? Or?
They could, yeah. But there weren't many, remember? We have one per state. So, it was rare that people moved up. Okay? Any more questions about that? Yes.
Right. So if two daimyo fought and one of them won the land, the peasant would become
The other daimyos? Yeah. Yeah.
So
They would take in
Wouldn't
those
there
peasants.
be wouldn't that defeat the whole purpose of the loyalty?
Well, if they were defeated, that's a different thing. They're forced into becoming not loyal. Okay. Okay, so for the last thing for class today, your ticket out of class. On a separate sheet of paper, you're going to write a journal entry or a diary entry, pretending like you were whatever role you were. So if you were a peasant, acting like you were a peasant in feudal Japan. In your diary entry, you need to talk about your day, just the things you did throughout the day, your relationships with other people, your interactions with other people. So how were you related to the samurai? Not related as a family, but what interactions did you have with the samurai or with the daimyo? Are there any questions about what you should be doing? It needs to be in complete sentences and paragraph form. On a separate sheet of paper. Make sure that you include who you are in your diary entry. Make sure you let me know who you are.
Do we have to do like dear diary and stuff?
You don't have to write Dear Diary, but during the lesson, the students learned about the social hierarchy during Japan's feudal age. The students learned about the political and social characteristics of society, as well as how everyone in the society was related to each other. There were 3 things I really liked about this lesson. I really liked how every student in the class was assigned a role. Even though the role assignments were completely random, each student still had an important role to play in the simulation, so everyone felt like they were part of the simulation as well as a part of the lesson as a whole. I also liked how the students got to get up and move throughout the lesson, and my students enjoyed getting to sit in places other than their desks. Finally, my favorite aspect of the lesson was the amount of time that we spent with the students participating in discussion. We were able to have whole class discussion as well as small group and partner discussions. After completing the lesson, my students told me how much they loved the simulation. They said that out of all the different ways we learned about Japanese feudalism, the simulation was their favorite. They told me they felt like they learned the most from it. So from this lesson, I learned that I have a lot of kinesthetic learners in my class, and I need to continue to include those kinds of lessons and activities in my teaching as much as possible. I noticed that I accepted a lot of choral responses. I definitely need to do a better job of randomly calling on students to make sure that everyone is actually understanding the material. I would also use longer ropes so that all of the students could comfortably hold onto the rope to symbolize that they are bound to the land. I also think it would be a lot of fun and much more engaging if I brought in props next time. I could bring in a crown for the emperor and plastic swords for the samurai.